Thank you guys. Uh, so today is a jam-packed day, and I apologize for putting so much stuff into one day, but there's just so much good stuff happening with this network, and I'm really excited to be helping to move things forward with this new Organ Alliance and trying to accelerate all the work that you guys are doing. I'm going to give you just a few minutes to kind of set the stage of what the New Organ Alliance is trying to do, and then we're going to go into the rest of the main activities for the day. So the New Organ Alliance is supported by, right now, by these four organizations are kind of the main foundation behind the New Organ Alliance. The NSF, as I mentioned last night, has been a really strong supporter of our road mapping activities, for the last few years. The Engineering and Biomedical Systems program at the NSF has really helped us make sure that we can do these summits and workshops on the road mapping side of things. So they've been a really great partner for us. Of course, NASA has been an amazing partner. A little over a year ago, I think the middle of 2015, we started really working with NASA on developing the vascular tissue challenge. And I mean, it was kind of a surprise. Everybody was like, well, why is NASA interested in bioengineering? But of course, there's a lot of crossover between microgravity research and bioengineering and long-term space flight, and how do we keep astronauts healthy, as they're going out into space. So getting NASA involved in this was really inspiring to me and great. And thank you, Monsi, and the rest of the NASA team for jumping onto it. Of course, then along with NASA, CASIS has been a great supporter of this. With the Vascular Tissue Challenge, CASIS saw that well, we've got this great research lab on the space station. Let's use it. And I know a number of your groups are already using it. So anyone who's interested in microgravity research and seeing how microgravity might be able to influence your bioengineering research, please talk to the folks from CASIS or some of the others that have been doing space station research. Can I just get a quick show of hands? How many have done microgravity research? I know there's, a couple handfuls of people that have been doing it. So anyone else who is interested in that, please talk to the people that have been doing it. And of course, we can't do anything without mentioning the Methuselah Foundation. Dave Goebel and the Methuselah Foundation have been really the shining vision behind the New Organ Alliance from the beginning. So having the Methuselah Foundation's great support from, I think, 2012 on has been what's gotten us here today. So I definitely want to make sure that everybody is aware of how we got to where we are. This is a basic slide of why the New Organ Alliance exists. Donors are basically flat. The need for new organs continues to rise. You guys all know this. Nothing new, but solving this challenge is why the New Organ Alliance exists. We are here in order to accelerate solutions to end the organ shortage. We do that through what I consider bioengineering, system science, and incentivized innovation. So we're using system science and incentivized innovation to advance your bioengineering research. As a network, we're trying to put together this system, through the road mapping work here, that we can all use as kind of a foundation to accelerate your bioengineering research. Then on top of that network, on top of this roadmap that we have, we're trying to lay prizes to incentivize and accelerate research to solve each of those challenges. Back in 2015, when we did our first road mapping workshop with the Organ Preservation Alliance, one of the first things that came out of that, I think we identified 9 overarching challenge topics from that event. And that's what we now have in the roadmap here. One of those was thick tissue vascularization. And out of that, we created the vascular tissue challenge. So that's the model that we're trying to use as we develop this roadmap. We're starting to see more and more concrete challenges come out of the road mapping work. We're starting to see some really specific sub-challenges and milestones that people are identifying, saying, all right, well, within the cardiovascular space, there's a specific need for understanding valves and maturation of that tissue. So maybe there's a way that we can incentivize work on that. Or any of the close to 100 other sub-challenges that we're starting to look at. So that's why we're here. We're trying to look at how does this organization accelerate solutions to all of the challenges. But the first thing is that we really need to understand what those challenges are. And that's what this summit is about. Most of today, when we're getting into our discussions and going through the different topics, we're trying to really refine the information that we put into this roadmap. So I just want to mention a few of the successes that we've had with the New Organ Alliance. We've been around a few years now, and we've mostly been running under the radar. We haven't done a lot of public pushing and public outreach, but we've had some great success. We've got 1.7 million in prize money out there right now. We've had about 350,000 in philanthropic support, coming in to help us move this forward. Over 100,000 in grants, to help move everything forward. Over 300 research labs that have been involved in the road mapping work. So, it's really starting to get a lot of researchers to recognize that this roadmap is something important and exciting. So, of course, all of you are here and dedicating your time to it, which couldn't do it without that. We worked with the White House Office of Science and Technology and Policy, did an event with them, participated in their Organ Summit a few years ago to help launch the Vascular Tissue Challenge. From last year's workshop, or the November 2016 workshop, other partnerships also came together. The NSF and CASIS were able to come together on a partnership to fund new research in this area. So there's been a lot of great success, just from kind of the under the radar work that we've been doing that I think not everybody's really aware of. So I just wanted to mention that and get you guys to start thinking about, well, how do we use where we are as a research alliance to go forward? And I'll talk more about that tomorrow, about what our next steps are, and start to discuss those a little bit more of how do we use this network and this roadmap to accelerate your research. Objectives for today and tomorrow. I have 5 objectives for us. This is what I've laid out, and I'm sure there's others, and there's going to be a great other net of just things that can happen. But we're going to refine the challenge topics and sub-challenges in this roadmap. That's what a lot of the discussions will be about. With that, we're trying to get to the point where we're ready to put the roadmap out to the public. Our goal is within 3 months after this roadmap, we're going to present it in DC. End of June is our current timeline, where we're going to have a public presentation in DC, present all of the challenge topics, sub-challenges, ideas on what do we need to tackle going forward to get to the end point where we have solutions to end the organ shortage. We are looking at enabling technology. So you heard last night from MISO, a great enabling technology for this. Today we'll also be discussing synthetic biology, microgravity, cryopreservation, other things that might help enable and accelerate your bioengineering technologies. Then we're also going to be looking at what are potential prize topics that we could put out there as the next challenge, as the next prize. In the discussion prompts that you have in your packets, we mentioned for each discussion, please try to identify, as you're thinking about the challenges and sub-challenges, which of these do you think would be good for even an incremental prize? If we had $50,000 or more, but if we had even something small like that, what would an incremental prize be that could really accelerate all of this work? Because then we're going to go out and try to use that to garner the support to put that out there for you guys. So this is why we're here. This is what we're doing with this summit and what we're going to do over the next few months. So I'm going to give a quick introduction to where we are with the roadmap. This is the base structure of what we've done to start out with the roadmap. We started out at a very high level saying there's different solution spaces toward ending the organ shortage. Then there's different strategies that people are taking within those solution spaces. And then we have specific challenges and sub-challenges to those. In all of that, looking at enabling technologies can be at all different levels. So there can be enabling technologies that can advance an entire solution space. There can be technologies that might be applied just to a specific challenge topic. But this is the overall structure that we've looked at. These are the 3 different solution spaces that were identified from our past road mapping workshops: bioengineering, increasing access, and mechanical replacement. For our purpose, we're focused on bioengineering. We recognize that there are these other 2 solution spaces out there, but we really want to focus on how do we accelerate all of the bioengineering work to make this happen. From our previous workshops and our development of the road mapping committees, these are some of where we are on the actual challenge topics. So, this is what has been developed for what do we need to tackle in order to go forward. We've got 7 kind of foundational challenge topics that are really cross-cutting. We have 3 that we've considered scalable challenge topics that once we understand the foundation, how do we actually scale and get it out there into the public? And then a few of our committees have actually come up with organ-specific topics. So part of what we're going to do today in the discussions is to add to these, refine how we identify them and characterize them, and try to get that information organized for the next step of this roadmap. What we're going to do today, we've got 3 roundtable discussion sessions. So we've got the first session that'll happen on the research strategies. And what we're going to do is I'm actually going to ask you guys to sit in groups who want to talk about the same strategy. Or if you're not sure which strategy you want to talk about, you can sit together and just discuss all of them. But we're going to try to sit around each different strategy. Same thing with the organs. So we've got 4 different organ committees that have been active on the road mapping so far: cardiovascular, liver, kidney, and muscle. So we're going to try to sit around each of those different organs and really get into the details for that organ area. And then the last one is enabling technologies. So the same thing. We've got microgravity, cryopreservation, synthetic biology, and I think one more that I'm forgetting. I think there's, yeah. So we'll have those out there, but to sit around each of those areas so that we can talk about them and really refine the roadmap. So in your discussion, in your packets, we have discussion prompts to help facilitate the discussion. And what we're going to do is we're going to gather those back after each discussion, and we're going to try to then use that to update the roadmap. So anything that you think is important for this roadmap, please write down and bring back to us. You can just give them to me. I'll make sure that they get organized so that we can put them into the roadmap. But we have a few discussion questions and prompts that will help guide you to make sure that we're getting really good information to move all of this forward. Last thing I'll say is that this is, of course, a participatory event. It's not just about us coming up here and speaking about all the great things we're doing, or talking about what's happening in bioengineering, but it's about talking with each other and helping to get new ideas moving forward, helping to put this roadmap together so that come June we can have a really solid thing that can be presented to the public. And also put up online into a database. So we're going to make this a searchable system, a searchable database that people can start to understand if they want to support this, what are they actually supporting and what are the challenges that are out there and who's working on them. So this is a very participatory event. We're really excited that everybody is here to participate in it today. Please talk to everybody. There's great minds here. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. We are going to talk about the Vascular Tissue Challenge, and we're going to hear from a few of the teams of the Vascular Tissue Challenge. Before we get into our discussion session,